Are you looking for a healthy breakfast option? Can you believe that all it takes is 2 ingredients to make this? Check it out. So this little guy is called a Dash. This brand is Elite Gourmet, but you can find the Dash maker, and it is going to help us to make our breakfast. You can see the iron here, you can see the top and the bottom, and how it's going to make a chaffle. And so the first thing we're going to do is plug it in. All right, now a chaffle is basically a waffle, but it's not made out of traditional ingredients. It's made out of only 2, 1 egg and 4 ounces or 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. So here we go, let's get started. So I preheated my chaffle maker, my Dash, which I will put a link in the description below so that you can definitely see it. And now, let's say that you want to add other ingredients. I'm going to add one, well, I'm going to add a couple actually, just to show you what I'm going to do with this one. But I am going to add what's called psyllium husk powder. And the reason I'm doing that is it has a lot of fiber in it, and fiber is really good for your digestion. And so you might say, well, it has some carbs, but the fiber will help you to balance that out and help your digestive system. And so the carbs won't have an effect, and it's a very little amount of carbs because I'm not going to add a ton of psyllium husk powder. Alright, so that's pretty thick. Another benefit to adding psyllium husk powder here is that, and it's not exactly a teaspoon, but there's no, you don't have to do this one way or the other, it just depends on you, is that it thickens up the batter too. And sometimes people will use flour for that exact reason, just because it just makes the chaffles a little bit thicker. But you could use flour, you could use almond flour, you could just leave it as these 2 ingredients. You could add psyllium husk powder. I mean, you could add some MCT oil. The sky's the limit, whatever you want to do. And I just encourage you to experiment so you can figure it out. So now I've opened up the chaffle maker, as you can see, and you can hear, I just flicked a little water onto it, how it's ready for our first chaffle. And so what you're gonna wanna do is spray both the top and the bottom. I'm just using some cooking spray, and I'm doing that because it's just easier. And I'm just going to use my spoon, and I'm just going to put a couple of spoonfuls of the chaffle mixture into this. Now, some people say it's about 1/3 or 1/4 of a cup, which is fine. You could use a tablespoon and measure out 4 tablespoons. You could pour it into a measuring cup. You could just eyeball it and pour in half the batter. Whatever you want to do, doesn't matter. It's hard to screw this up, really. It is. So that's 1, and that's 2. And let's say you do mess it up and you only get 1 chaffle out of this the first time. No big deal. Honestly, it's not a big deal. And so now that I filled this, what I'm doing here is spreading this around the little maker so that it becomes a nice shape. And I'm going to shut the lid right here, and careful it's hot, and let it cook. And it takes about 3 minutes, and you can see this indicator light. And once this indicator light turns off, then we are going to know that the chaffle is ready. And you can see the steam. Once the steam stops as well, we'll know that the chaffle is ready. And you can see that I've got a cooling rack down here, and you're probably like, why does she have a cooling rack? And it's just because it's nice to put the chaffle on that, because it's going to cook just for a little longer, even after it's out of the maker. And so I just like this oven rack. I bought it on Amazon. Maybe they were like $11 for 2 of them. And I mean, it's good for so many uses, as you know, if you have one. I mean, bacon grease, all of that. And look at this, you guys. I got these silicone spatulas for Christmas, and they are great. So easy to clean and easy to use. And I know this is a little big for the maker, but that's okay. All right, and you heard it click, and you see that the indicator light is off. There's a lot less steam, and we can kind of hear it just coming down. And let's see if it's done. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it looks done to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's done. We'll see. Oh, you know what? Actually, it is. My bad. All right. And I think this is, to me, the hardest part, like trying to get it out of the maker, because it's non-stick, but it's just one of those things. All right, and there you see my first chaffle. Look at that. It is delicious. And again, it's still cooking a little bit, so if you're like, hey, it's not completely done, that's totally okay. No problem. Now I'm going to spice up my next chaffle. I have cut up some strawberries, and I'm going to make a sweet chaffle. So I will probably do one plain one and one sweet one. I'm just gonna quick mix this together. Just give it a little mix here while it cools. There we go. And what I'm gonna do now is spray the maker again. So I sprayed the top and the bottom, and I'm just gonna pour the rest of this in because we used up half the batter already. So this generally makes 2 chaffles. All right, let's scrape it all in there. And I've got some sugar-free whipped cream that I am going to put on this chaffle. Now we'll spread it around like so, if you remember how we did this the last time. We'll see the shape of this one. It looks a little odd, but hopefully it'll round itself out. I don't know. We'll find out. But if it's not perfect, okay, whatever. You know what? See some of that? I don't want that over the edge, so we're gonna just round it out. But because it has things in it, it's just harder to actually do. All right. Now I'm going to shut the lid. Careful, it's hot. And here we go. Ooh, and you can hear that one sizzle. So I got a couple of people a dash for Christmas, and they love it. I actually found that someone that got it for Christmas has made 8 chaffles in one sitting so that she can have them for breakfast or lunch. And she said with one, she's put avocado on it and loves that. Now you could do pizza chaffles, you could do bread chaffles, you could do sweet chaffles. It really just depends on you and what your preference is and what your taste is. But look at how easy this is to make. I mean, who doesn't love this? And you can just do this in less than 10 minutes. And I'm putting my hand, as you can see, over the maker. Now, I wouldn't necessarily advise you do this because the steam is hot, but it's not that hot. So if you want to kind of gauge that, for me, as you know, I'm legally blind. So it's just kind of an easy cooking technique because it's harder for me to see the steam, but I can kind of know, oh, okay, it's lessened. And I can hear that the waffle maker is also sizzling less, which is always a good sign. All right, you ready? Ooh, look at that. And the strawberries baked into that pretty nicely, actually. Hopefully I can get this one out, right? This is the one part that I'm always like, oh no, you know? Because what if I break it and then it doesn't look good anymore? I mean, I'd still eat it, but I like the ones that I at least make for videos to look presentable enough. So this one's having a rough time coming out. I can just tell by the edges. So I'm just gonna let this cook a little bit more. I'm gonna give it another minute. Just because you don't know. And look, the indicator light even came back on, so that's really good. So once the indicator light turns off, I will take it out. And that might be because of the strawberries that I put in the dash maker, or the elite gourmet maker, shall I say? Maybe they just need a little more time to set into the waffle. Oh, look at that, and it just went off. Okay, let's see now. All right, I know that wasn't a minute, but it knows. I trust it, okay? Yeah, and it's Okay, yep, it's coming out. I think I'm just a little timid about taking it out because I don't want to break it. There we go. Okay, come on, hi. Let's go. Oh, look at that. I sort of flipped it over. But look at how nicely the strawberries baked into this truffle. And it's nice and golden brown. And now you can see both of them together, which is awesome. I'm just gonna let this cool on the rack. Now you might be wondering about cleaning. You see that there's a little piece of the batter stuck on the maker. Well, what you do is once it cools down, actually did you see that? I just scooped it off. Good. All right. Hold on. And it's a strawberry, so we're gonna put it back on here because why not? Okay. I digress. All right. So, so what you do to clean this is unplug it, let it cool down, and just take a damp paper towel or a damp cloth and just wipe down both the edges. And then if the outside edges need it, say any of the batter spilled over, just wipe that down as well. I mean, that's literally it. That's all you have to do.